everyone, and welcome to the third episode of The Follow Through. My name is Avery Brenna Crumrine, author of Intention into Action, and in the last episode, we talked about resistance and what's actually stopping you from taking action. And now I want to talk to you about what to do next. Most of the time, the reason you're not starting is because you think the first step is bigger than it actually is. Because even when you understand what's holding you back, you can still feel stuck. And it usually comes down to this: you're making the first step too big. Most of the time, when you think about starting something, you don't think about the first step. You're thinking about the whole thing, the final result, everything it's going to take, and all the steps in between. And your brain goes, that's too much. And so you end up not starting at all. Let's say you want to start something like a podcast, a business, working out, or writing. You don't think, I'm going to record for 5 minutes. You think, I have to be consistent. I have to be good. I have to figure everything out. This has to be perfect. And even if you're not thinking it has to be perfect, you're not just thinking about how easy the first step could be. And that's overwhelming. And so instead of doing the first small step, you end up doing nothing. But I want to help you shift this perspective, because the truth is, the first step is never the full picture. It's always smaller than you think. And the only purpose of the first step is to get you in motion, to get you moving, not to finish this, not to get it perfect, but to start it. Even with this podcast, the first step wasn't building a full brand, having everything figured out. It was literally just sitting down and recording. And this was really hard for me to do because I obviously wanted everything to be perfect, because I like things to look a certain way. And even that felt bigger in my head than it actually was. But once I started, it got easier. I mean, I'm only 3 episodes in, but it already feels so much easier than just starting the first one. And that's the part people miss, because you don't need clarity to start. You don't need confidence to start. You get that confidence by beginning and by taking action. And I even noticed this with my book. When I first thought about writing it and I was looking at that idea in my notes app, I wasn't thinking about just writing one page. I was thinking about the entire book. I was thinking about a finished copy in my hands. And I thought about how it would sound, what people would think, if it was good enough to even read. And it made it so much bigger than it actually was. Because when I actually started writing, it wasn't that. I was writing a paragraph. I was brainstorming. I was doing a Google Doc page, like literally spilling out my ideas. It wasn't all about starting it perfectly. It was about having my ideas out there and then being able to go over it and obviously fix grammar mistakes and everything. But the point is, the first step was to start the brainstorm. I wasn't needing the first step to be write the book. And this is where a lot of people get stuck, because they're waiting for the version of themselves that's ready for the full thing. And if I waited until I was ready to have a full published book, I don't think I would have even started the book. Instead, you can become the person that can handle it by starting small. So here's what I want you to do. Take the thing you've been putting off, and instead of asking, how do I do all of this? Ask, what's the smallest possible version of starting? Not the ideal version, the way that's going to make it perfect or final, but the smallest version. If it's working out, think about putting your shoes on. If it's writing, write a sentence, a paragraph. If it's reaching out to someone, maybe send the message, or even write down in your notes what the message is going to be. And I know those things sound almost too small, like that can't be enough. Just putting on my shoes. But that's the whole point. It needs to feel easy enough to do so you'll actually do it. And once you actually do something once, it will become so much easier to do it again. And that's how your momentum builds. And I feel like momentum is the first step for so many people to be able to do the things they want. As well as I talk about being able to continue doing the things you want after momentum goes away. But a lot of people make the most progress when they're in momentum. And this isn't from doing something big once. It's from doing something small consistently. The point is that you don't need to be impressive at the start. You don't need to be consistent yet. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to begin. Because once you start, you're no longer stuck. The first step isn't supposed to be big. It's supposed to be easy enough that you actually do it. And most people stay stuck because they skip that part. They wait to feel ready for something bigger, and that's just not how it works. So today, don't focus on the whole thing, just focus on starting. And make the first step smaller than you think it should be. Because at the end of the day, intention doesn't change anything, putting it into action does. I'll see you guys next week.